Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money Podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Wesley Lindquist on the line. He's founder of thenumbersedge.com and Precision Financial, and he's also author of the Playbook to Managing Your Business by the Numbers to give you the edge you deserve. Wes, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
So first off, I want to congratulate you on this new book. I have a copy of it right in front of me, and I just have to say, well written and great work on your part.
Thank you so much. It's the first book I've written, and it shares a lot of information I wanted to get out with the world.
Fantastic, and that you are. I do want to go further into the book, but before we do that, let's go a little bit further into what you're doing over at Precision Financial. Tell us a little bit more about your company, please.
Sure. So Precision Financial is a CFO consulting company that provides part-time CFO help to businesses, and that was born out of my experiences working in accounting and finance earlier in my career for very large companies, and then much smaller companies later in my career. And I found that the large companies that had kind of deep pockets in solid finance departments, they were really good at using finances as the foundation for making great decision-making in their companies. But then when I started working with smaller businesses, I understood that they were much less financially sophisticated. They lacked the success that some of the more sophisticated companies were able to generate. And so out of that 10, 12 years of experience came a clear opinion that business owners who understand their numbers have a competitive advantage over those that don't. They're more profitable. They have a lower risk of going out of business. They're able to implement wealth increasing strategies. They're just overall more successful than those that don't. And so we started the consulting company years ago to help small businesses think like big businesses. But then we realized that it's hard to reach tens of thousands of business owners. So we started thenumbersedge.com to put our entire playbook for how we do CFO consulting with small businesses out there for the world so small business owners can get it on their own. So we've got a crash course and then the book that you mentioned, the Playbook to Managing Your Business by the Numbers. And so ultimately, that was our way to help small business owners learn to think like a CFO and manage their business the way a CFO would.
What are I don't want to assume that everybody listening understands or has ever used a CFO consulting service. Tell us a little bit more about what that entails.
It's essentially making sure that these four pieces of your financial management work well at your company. So first, all businesses, the fundamentals of what CFOs do or how to manage your business by the numbers, it's rooted in solid bookkeeping. That's the activity that records what's happening in your company that you can't have a scoreboard for your business without. And so the first thing that either a part-time CFO or a full-time CFO or a CFO consulting company should do is make sure that you have solid bookkeeping in place and check up on that regularly. And then once the bookkeeping's working the way it should, there should be output in the form of a scoreboard that tells you about your business. That's financial statements for most businesses, income statement and a balance sheet, and sometimes it's weekly dashboards or other statistics that help you understand whether your business is getting healthier or less healthy. And all of those are the history of your business. That's the foundation for putting together a crystal ball of where is your business going to be in the future so that you can manage out of the windshield instead of the rearview mirror, I call it. And once you have an idea of where your business is going to be in the future, now you can think about what decisions do you make in your business or what should you change, pricing strategy, what hiring will I need, tax strategy, do I have the right customers, things like that. And that's really what a CFO should be doing for your business, is making sure that all of those pieces work well together. Or if you're a really small business owner, let's just, for example, call it maybe less than 10 people, that might be what you do yourself when you have your CFO hat on. And what we try to do is provide the guidance for how do you do that if you need to do it yourself, Or how do you manage that process if you have a person reporting to you as the business owner that is responsible for doing that correctly?
Let's spend some time on your book. So the playbook to managing your business by the numbers to give you the edge you deserve. So tell us a little bit more about what a reader can expect to get out of this.
So the book is broken down into those 4 sections that I mentioned in order. The first part 1, is all about the fundamentals that every business should have in bookkeeping, in particular, even if you just started a one-person company in your garage. For example, you've got to have a software to record your cash ins and outs. You've got to have a separate bank account to not commingle your personal funds with your business funds. You've got to be able to get that information recorded so that you can get the information out of it later. And then part 2 is all about how do you understand the results of that bookkeeping? How do you read an income statement? What is a balance sheet? Why does it matter? How do the numbers that you see on those scoreboards or financial statements get there? How do they tell you about your business? And it'll touch on things like businesses have what we call a break-even point, that if your sales are above X, you should be making money. If your sales are below X, you're probably losing money. And there are statistics that all business owners can look at that are leading indicators of your financial health, such as the activity in your sales pipeline versus things that you might look at that really are a little late to make decision on. For example, cash is usually the last activity that happens with your customers. And unfortunately, that's the thing that a lot of small business owners measure, but it's not an early indicator of what's coming up. So it talks about all of that in part 2. And part 3 is about how do you build a budget or a forecast, or I like to keep it simple and call it a plan or a crystal ball, so that you've got a document or a spreadsheet in front of you that says, this is where I think the business is going based on what I know or what do I assume. And that includes, how do I know if I'm going to get into cash trouble in the future? How do I know whether I've got enough money to make 1 payroll or 2 payrolls or 3 payrolls ahead so that I can do something about it? And then part 4 is all about the strategy that experienced entrepreneurs and small business owners use that new entrepreneurs don't always think about. How to prepare for unexpected downturns, which is a timely topic at the time that we're recording this podcast. Do I have the pricing strategy right? What happens if I raise my prices by 3 or 4%? How much business can I lose and still come out with the same level of profit or success that I had before I raised my prices? And how do I use this information to get a loan or things like that? So it tries to help a business owner all the way through from the beginning of today might be day 1 and I just opened a really small business up through I've got this finance and accounting thing working. What do I do with that so that I can be more successful as a business owner?
Man, I love it. So Wes, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information on the book or your website, or even to connect about the CFO consulting, what's the best way for them to reach out and kind of get into your ecosystem of these numbers, which I'm loving? That's what I'm going to call it, the ecosystem of Wes, because you're really helping business owners. I like how you're doing it in a very specific way. And I've looked at your model, the site, the book, everything, and I'm like, man, people that follow you long term are going to do really well. They're just going to be on another level in terms of understanding and commanding their numbers, which we both know is important to stay in business. So what's the best way for them to reach out?
Nice. I love your term for it. So thenumbersedge.com is the best place to start to get introduced to what type of information is there to help small business owners, but we actually have a little ecosystem that's a great place to connect with me personally that I live in, which is our private Facebook group called The Numbers Edge. So go check that out. We've got daily tips and useful wisdom for small business owners going into there all the time. I live in there, so great place to connect with me. And between both of those, you'll find it's pretty easy to get a hold of me, and you'll find some email addresses for me along the way.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Wes, really appreciate all the work that you're doing for business owners out there. Helping them get a command of their numbers, and which will make them long-term have a much higher chance of probability of success long-term. So that's awesome. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, go check out Wes's book, The Playbook to Managing Your Business by the Numbers. Really easy to find on Amazon. You just put in that name, and it's all in the show notes, all that good stuff. So definitely go pick up that book. You won't regret that. I have a copy in my hand right now, and it's awesome. And if also, don't forget, if you're watching the YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments. Love to hear what's going on in your world and in your business. And Wes, thanks again for coming on the show.